Hi, I'm Deepak Chopra and I'm speaking to you today from New York City. So, the purpose of this YouTube video is to give you an update on quantum healing. Quantum Healing is a book I wrote in 1988, and I think the subtitle was Exploring the Frontiers of Mind Body Medicine. At that time, we did not know much about mind body interactions, but I was convinced based on my practice in both internal medicine and neuroendocrinology that consciousness influenced our biology through the generation of neuropeptides that also modified the activity of the immune system. And shortly after I wrote Quantum Healing, the era of psychoneuroendocrinology and then psychoneuroimmunomodulation was born. The book was embraced by the general public, but it was vilified by many in the medical establishment. And at that time, uh, I was one of the first few people to be called a pseudoscientist by many in the medical community. Several years later, of course, I was ambushed by the famous or infamous Richard Dawkins, who interviewed me for a lengthy period and then took out 3 minutes and skillfully edited them, and then, of course, exposed me, quote unquote, as an enemy of science. In any case, over the last 25 years plus, the book has now sold close to 1 million copies. And of course, we've come a long way in the area of neuroplasticity and epigenetics. So I feel vindicated that quantum healing was a good metaphor for how a shift in consciousness creates a shift in biology. Something, of course, I was ridiculed for, principally by my critics, but again, definitely by Richard Dawkins and his cohorts. So here's the basic understanding. We all know that when you're stressed, when you experience physical or psychological threat, your cortisol goes up, your adrenaline goes up, there's inflammation in the body, and this can create physiological havoc and can actually have deleterious consequences. And that stress has now become the number one epidemic of our civilization and is directly or indirectly linked to many chronic illnesses, including heart disease and cardiovascular accidents. Inappropriate inflammation is also linked to things like not only cardiovascular disease but cerebrovascular accidents, weakened immune system, compromised hosts who get infection, autoimmune illnesses, and many types of infection as well. Inflammation being the common background. What we didn't know is that an internal state of euphoria can generate neuropeptides like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, opiates, which all happen to be immunomodulators, and that they fine tune your immune system and make you healthy, instigate self regulation or homeostasis, which we might call the healing response. And now, of course, we have even more interesting information in the field of epigenetics, which says that our environment, not only our external environment, but our internal environment, which means our thoughts and our emotions, our feelings, our desires, our imagination, our state of consciousness can modify the activity of our genes through many processes such as histone methylation amongst others. So your immune cells can get upgraded or downgraded, but even more important, your gene activity can be upgraded or downgraded. So upgraded means the genes that are involved in homeostasis and self-regulation and self-healing get activated, and the genes that are involved in inappropriate inflammation get get downgraded, therefore activating the healing response. Too much inflammation, illness, and homeostasis, healing. So now we have a basis to how our genes get activated also through mind-body interactions. Now, of course, in the tradition of Vedanta and Eastern wisdom traditions, states of consciousness can include what are called higher states of consciousness. So besides waking, dreaming, sleeping, there's something called transcendental consciousness, where you go to baseline status in consciousness, which means simple, pure awareness, existence, being, no thought content. And in this state, of course, now we know that some genes get enriched 17-fold. Telomerase, the enzyme that controls the length of telomeres, which are involved in how we age biologically at a cellular level. Telomerase goes up in meditation, as do many genes that are involved in self-regulation and healing body fluids, wound healing, etc. Genes that are involved in things like Alzheimer's, heart disease, premature aging, and the stress response, they get downregulated. A lot of these studies are coming out now. Dean Ornish has done some of these studies. We are doing a multi-center collaboration at our center, looking at the effects of yoga, meditation, breathing techniques, and also nutrition, emotional well-being on genomic activity. And it turns out that the entire genome changes its behavior as we shift in consciousness from normal states of consciousness to what have been defined in Eastern wisdom traditions as more expanded, higher states of consciousness. So 26 years later, I've been asked by my publishers to revisit quantum healing, and I've just done an update with all the latest science. And Rudy Tanzi, who is director of genetics at Mass General Hospital and chaired professor of neurology at Harvard University, and my co-author in a book called Superbrain, has written the foreword to the updated version of quantum healing, and we have all the research and all the references that finally validate what I was kind of intuitively speaking about 26 years ago, with, of course, my background in neuroendocrinology. So all of those who regarded this as pseudoscience 26 years ago will, I hope, accept this as very good, legitimate science, and in fact, the cutting-edge frontier of mind-body medicine. I'm grateful for all those who supported the book, but in a sense also to the critics, because it made us look very hard at the precise mechanisms of the phrase quantum healing that I coined and first used in the area of mind-body medicine. I have been saying for many years that I use the word quantum healing as a metaphor, but that's what science is. Science is all metaphor. Science does not reveal nature to us as she is. Science reveals nature to us in the way we ask questions of her. Quantum is the smallest unit of energy and information in physics. So just like a quantum of light is a photon, a quantum of electricity can be loosely referred to as an electron. A quantum of consciousness would be a thought, an intention, or even the most baseline state of restful awareness. Okay, thanks very much for all the supporters and all the critics.